Bienvenidos a EsperanzaVence, donde la Esperanza vence. Welcome to EsperanzaVence, where hope wins. Well, I'm feeling joyful. How about you? Happy Mars Day. With all this Leo energy coming in, we got to remember to sit in our joy, literally and figuratively. My niece made this awesome artwork that got made into these awesome placemats, so I just thought they would be a cute background for today. It's been raining in southern Wisconsin recently, thank goodness, because we need it for a lot of reasons. We needed the rain. And there's our dumpster fire oracle cards. Let's see what they have to say for us today. Messenger Owl. This is actually the first card that ever got pulled out of this deck. And it was our friend Randy pulled this card with me at Contact Modalities Expo this year in southern Wisconsin. Messenger Owl. Communicate clearly. Say what you mean. Nobody enjoys decoding cryptic midnight hoots. Own your voice. Wow. So leave that passive-aggressive energy behind, even though Mars is you know where. All right. Stay tuned for the astrology. We will talk about the specifics of where Mars and everybody else is. Dog in the car. Choose joy. Oh, wow. Choose joy. Cool. Dog in the car. Choose joy. Ears flapping, tongue out, blissful grin. Joy is found in the ride itself if you embrace it. Well, isn't that something? See, that's what the cards they do. They play with me as much as I play with them. Y'all have seen it here on the channel many, many a time. When the cards kind of just reflect what we're doing here. Wonderful. Well, that's fun. I love it when that happens. Oh, that makes me happy. Okay, great. Well, these are our dumpster fire oracles for today. I'll set those here. And we are working with the, is that too far? With the Edgar Allan Poe Tarot for today. The 11th of August, 2026. I already shuffled this quite a lot. We can pray and play. '11th of August, 2026. Near past, present tense, near future. Thank you for fine-tuning your free will and intuition with me. Oh my gosh, if you think I have this much fun, like pretty much by myself here, I'm like by myself doing this, imagine how much fun we have together. So let's pull some cards and see what your astrology is up to. This is a big astrological moment that we're all walking through together. The Hierophant we got Five of Wands, fire energy. And then we have the Two of Pentacles reversed. Oh, interesting. Well, the Hierophant has to do with stable structures. It has to do with society. It has to do with proper, polite society. It has to do with not disrupting our elders. The Hierophant has to do with hierarchical structures where we have to go through someone to get to our spiritual home. There's doors that need to be unlocked by others in order for us to pass through. The Hierophant has to do with having a mentor or having a spiritual leader or having a boss or being a leader or teaching others, but in a like sort of like a ritualistic kind of like in a situation where people have to pass through certain levels, you know, where there are certain levels of access and they're not available. The Hierophant holds the key, You know, the key to the spirit world, the key to the kingdom. The Hierophant holds both of those keys. And in the traditional Rider-Waite tarot deck, we see the Hierophant sitting with their holiness, two monks in front of them, and then the two keys are crisscrossed. And in this version of the Hierophant, this is based on a story by Edgar Allan Poe where they unwrapped this mummy who was peacefully laying where they were, and this is having to go through these levels of ceremony, right? Ceremony that makes for a society or that makes for a culture. You know what I mean? To exist and stand in and of itself. Another 5 card, 5 of Wands. So 5 of Wands is very creative energy. But again, like we were saying yesterday, be careful that our fire doesn't spark off and start to singe or burn anybody else, right? We got to be careful with our fire energy these days. Be careful that playful discussions don't turn into arguments. Be careful that people feel seen for the wand that they're bringing, and careful that we're cooperative with our fire rather than battling with our fire. We can't fight fire with fire. And with Mars and Cancer, it's going to be, you know, the fire might be boiling water, or the water might douse the fire. We got to be sure to keep things on a nice simmer to where everybody can have a good cup of tea, right? Without it turning into you know, this is a little bit much. It looks like the Joker. Let's look this card up and see what it's about. I want to know what the 5 of Wands is in Edgar Allan Poe tarot. I want to know what that story is. Conflict and chaos rule the day. You're embroiled in arguments that have no end. You don't see eye to eye with others. It might feel impossible to come to an agreement, as all parties don't share similar backgrounds, goals, or beliefs. Circular discussions cause tension and make it difficult to reconcile. Frustration is the only outcome. Oh my gosh. Well, they take a really more negative view of 5 of Wands. 5 of Wands for me is like kind of like play fighting. You can circumvent this by listening. Consider the other's viewpoint before responding. This will encourage others to do the same. At least you can agree to disagree. All right. In the story of the Hop Frog, a crippled dwarf named Hop Frog and his sworn friend Trippetta are taken from their homeland and forced to serve a king. Hop Frog's disability is fodder for conflict between him and the king. The king lives only for joking and doesn't care about the well-being of others. When the king throws a goblet of wine into Trippetta's face, Hop Frog is furious. He shackles the king and his ministers with a chain, hoists them towards the ceiling, and sets them on fire. Because Hop Frog's act takes place during a masquerade, the guests believe the murder to be nothing more than a well-contrived pleasantry. In this image, 5 men are suspended from a large chandelier. They're tortured and burned to death. 4 candles burn around them, while a 5th is wielded by Hop Frog. Holy moly, that is so deep. Jeepers, Hop Frog. Hop Frog wasn't taking no guff. Okay, he's like, you ain't gonna throw a goblet of wine in my girl's face, man. Whew. Dang, Edgar Allan Poe is like literally, wow. Okay, let's see what he says about the 2 of Pentacles. Or see what they say about what story they chose to go with the 2 of Pentacles, more like. This is cool. For me, the 2 of Pentacles is, you know, juggling a couple of things at once. You have a job, you have a side hustle, you have your home life, you have your social life, you have one relationship and another. Post-satirical story Bonbon records the adventures of Pierre Bonbon, philosopher and chef. Bonbon's two talents parallel the theme of the Two of Pentacles, balance and overcommitment. With two careers, one must wonder if he has time for his family and friends. His inclination for the bottle is his answer to workload stressors. Uh-oh. Pierre Bonbon. One night, Bonbon hears the devil speaking to him, so he decides to strike up a conversation, if only to elicit some important ethical ideas that he can use toward achieving academic fame. The devil happens to eat the souls of famous philosophers, and Bonbon, being a master chef, offers up his soul as a souffle. The devil passes on his offer, saying that he cannot dine on anything as disgusting and ungentlemanly as he. In this image, Bonbon balances a silver platter in one hand and a book in the other. He stands in front of the French restaurant he owns. He wears an apron, and his sleeves are rolled up to his elbows. There's much work to be done. The devil observes Pierre from the patio. Wow. You feel overwhelmed by all that you must accomplish. Your daily life is filled with work demands, family obligations, or social activities. For you, life is like walking on a high wire. At any moment, you could lose your balance. You take pride in your time management skills and schedule yourself down to the minute. You go 90 miles per hour all day, every day, and nothing can slow you down. But eventually, your house of cards will begin to crumble. Your family life will suffer. Your work responsibilities will slide. Holy moly, this is like spell casting. Upright, organization, time management, priorities, deadlines, responsibilities, balance, obligations, flexibility, adaptability. Reversed, disorganization, overcommitment, stress, distractions, overwhelmed, and pressure. So that's what they say. I say that with Two of Pentacles reversed, you got to pick something and go with it. You might not be able to juggle all things. You can delegate. You know, you can ask other people to pick up a pentacle for you, or you can use that pentacle to pay someone else to like do it, or to do a trade. You know, if you're the baker, maybe you just stick to the baking and let somebody else do the marketing for your bakery. Stuff like that. All right. Well, that was fun. Stay tuned for the astrology. See you in just a minute. Thanks. Okay, so here's your astrology chart for today. Would you just look at that? All those lines going all over the place. Like I said yesterday, I'm getting cat, and more cat energy. And this chart to me looks like a ball of yarn that this cat is having just a fun time, just batting around and having a good time now. The yarn is getting tangled or unraveled depending on, you know, our perspective, right? So let's break this down. First of all, I'd like to show you all how I see these charts. For those of you who have been fine-tuning your free will and intuition with me for a while, first of all, thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sticking with me. Stay with me now. And thank you for putting up with my bullshit. And thank you for understanding when I draw on top of these charts. When I read an astrology chart, a lot of times I see music. Okay, I see music in the chart. I hear harmonizations. I think there's a word for that when you see colors as music or something like that. I don't know. But I see charts as music. I see it as harmonics. And many times I see the planetary bodies as like, you know, Neptune is the oboe player, right? Saturn is the bassoon. Okay. Chiron is the fiddle, you know. And so on. You know, you can just make it up as you go along or go with the flow of your mood. But in this chart, since there's so much going on, I'm going to break it down visually and harmonically the way that I see things. Okay, so stick with me now. In the middle of the chart here in white, we see a trine, an air trine between Uranus, Pluto and Juno, and Venus over here in Libra, in our home sign of Libra. Now, when you have a trine in a chart, to me, that sounds like a major chord. Okay, so a major chord is going to be thirds and fifths, all right? So you have the root of the chord, okay? And then you have the third, and then you have the fifth. All right, so the base of this chord for me here today is Venus, 4 degrees 40 in Libra, because she's at home. So she's holding it down for this. Her harmonics, her vocals, okay, Libra, air, vocals, the vocals that I'm sharing with others, right? The harmonizations that I'm making. I'm Venus and I'm harmonizing this chart with my bass, with my vocals. Uranus is the third, Gemini. Gemini represents third house matters, and Uranus at the top of the chart here in the 10th is the third. Uranus is the middle part of the chord that's going to hinge this chord, okay? Uranus, if it moves just to the left or just to the right, this chord is going to become major, minor, or dissonant, okay? So Uranus is in control of that. And then Pluto and Juno over here as the fifth. You know, it's interesting because I didn't call Uranus the fifth. You know, Pluto is the fifth because Pluto over time is going to reverberate. The fifth is usually like the last note that gets played, and that's the note that rings out at the end of a chorus, at the end of a chord, at the end of a symphony, okay? And Pluto is going to ring out over time, right? Over like the next 20 years in Aquarius. So the reverberations of the powerful chords that we strike now will reverberate out into the future. So that is the baseline trine that we're working with here. Now, as offshoots of energies, see, we have like this, a lot of different chords are being played at the same time. And whereas I find a grand trine, a grand air trine to be a major chord, I see the minor grand trines as minor chords. So, whereas the major chord of this chart is the minor grand trines, which consist of the Moon and Mercury sextiling Uranus, sextiling Neptune, trining the Moon, okay, and Mercury. Also, there's another minor grand trine between the Moon and Mercury, Uranus, and Venus. There's also a minor grand trine between Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, ongoing. There's also another minor grand trine between Mars and Ceres, Chiron, and the North Node. Did I catch all of them? I think I did. So all of those minor grand trines to me are going to sound like, as opposed to, they're going to be do you hear the difference? So just that little shift, right where Chiron is, right where the Moon and Mercury are, right where Neptune is, right where Mars and Ceres are, that little just nuance can really change the chord, can't it? Maybe I should be playing this with strings on the guitar. Maybe I'll do a little tutorial of it later, like as a short or something. But this is just sort of like, you know me, I just free flow, right? So that's kind of how I see music in the chart. Obviously, I also see images. I see symbols and I see images. So I see two diamonds forming from one trine in this chart, okay? So I see a diamond formation with Neptune at the tippy tip, that ongoing minor grand trine in cohesion with this grand air trine, okay? So we have the minor grand trine between Neptune, Pluto, and Uranus, and then the grand air trine between Uranus, Pluto, and Venus, and then that grand air trine is also having another diamond offshooting with Mercury and the moon, Venus, Uranus, and Pluto. So again, with that baseline formation of the grand air trine, harmonizing, working together, singing in a chorus, singing a deep song. Diamonds take a long time to form, and they form out of coal. So these are like the deep, deep songs of our ancestors that are in our bones. And if they still come out through our wind pipes, okay, these songs can be powerful. I think music is the healing balm for this energy. And I think with the new moon solar eclipse in Leo coming through, I think it's okay to sing out loud. And if you can, to sing with others. And most importantly of all, use your voice and sing at home. Sing to your home, sing in your home, sing protection around your home. As you use these harmonics and as you use the music of this chart, embody this energy with your own breath and sing songs of protection around your home. No matter what chaos surrounds you, your neighborhood and yourself and your body is your home, and you are safe and protected. Porque la esperanza vence. Hope wins. I love you. If you'd like a personal session where we can get a little bit deeper into your own chart and the music that you could personally sing your heart song, as our dear friend Randy always encourages me to do, you know what to do. Hit the links and we'll talk soon. Love you. Bye.